What is going on, ESGNet Nation, and welcome back to the second part of the Highland Scotties Team Builder finale here in NCAA 14. And we're going to sim the second year after, of course, Coach Teddy Bonds has left the school. And the first year, him being gone, was surprising enough. It was a pretty good season. We had only 2 losses. Got to a bowl game, but unfortunately came up short in that bowl game. And now we are going to try to see if we can try to bounce back here. As we're the number 3 team in the nation, and looks like we're pretty much across the board got A's. So we're the top 3 here. This is the preseason poll, the top 25 schools in the nation. Of course, we're just going to show you the top 25. Of course, it shows you all the 130 plus schools. And then, of course, there you see the conference lookout here as Highland is, of course, the top runner here that they're predicting that will be the best team in the Big 12 North. I just take a look there at the bottom, Kansas being in the bottom of the North. And then, of course, in the top of the South here, it is going to be Arizona State, which I believe in the last couple of seasons now that we've had this series, even dating back before we ended the series. Arizona State is, either Arizona State or Arizona were the 2 teams that were highly favored. So let's take a look here at the Heisman Watch here. And of course, in this episode here today, we're going to try to speed run this pretty quickly here as we're going to go through the weeks and show you guys the teams, their ups and downs, wins, losses, kind of explain what happened in the game. And of course, talk about some of the players that we are currently having on the team right now. Still got a couple players here that we've had before we ended the series in of course, the very last game of the national championship game that we were a part of. So we still got a couple of some former players from Coach Bond's recruiting year still there. And of course, we're here. You see the schedule here playing Mulanel, the University of Louisville. We're going to play against them. We're going to play against also North Carolina, and we're going to play against Akron in our non-conference. And then, of course, you see UCF, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Cincy, Utah, Kansas, West Virginia, at K-State, and then, of course, at BYU the week of Thanksgiving. So, as we take a look here, and the first game we're going to be going against is, of course, Louisville, who we did lose to. If you remember, I think we lost to them by at least a point or 2. Well, unfortunately, we ended up losing to them again here. This time at home, as we ended up losing this one 36-29. John Moore, the quarterback there, 19 of 37. That's a lot of passing there. But Eric Marcus, really stepped up there. 114 yards on 28 carries for 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 11 broken tackles in the game. Of course, Moore also ran there. He also had a touchdown as well on 14 carries, 35 yards in this game. So if you guys remember, Eric Marcus was kind of our guy. It was kind of our gadget player. He had a couple times on the field there, but mostly he was pretty much our kind of our third down guy. But mostly he played in the special teams. He was our returner. And now the new coach here for Highland sees something in him. I think Coach Bonds, of course, he is still with the school, as a kind of as an AD. He put a good word in for Eric, and wanting to see Eric accomplish some goals here in his time here at Highland. And he's been looking pretty good there. We've seen him kind of really take off in the second half of the previous episode, and now he is going to be the starter here this season. So nice to see that happening as we take a look at some of the numbers here defensively as well. And of course, Highland will come up short here. So not the start we were looking for here as the unranked Louisville comes into town and of course gets the first win of the season against a highly ranked number 3 Highland Scotties. So this is going to be a licking that we're definitely going to have to take, and of course hopefully can bounce back here. This will be something that hopefully we'll get ourselves back in motion here. With one loss, we still have a chance to, of course, get into the national championship picture. Of course, everything for that to happen will have our place here. Of course, one of them being that we have to win the Big 12, as well as the people now that's going to be, we're going to drop quite a few. I think we'll still be in the top 10. But the teams that are ahead of us, of course, that means a lot of teams are going to have to start losing games. They're going to have to lose 2 or more games for us to get into that national championship picture. So there's a lot of football still left to play. It's only week 1. I know a lot of fans out there freak out about the first week, and of course, if your team doesn't win, you're almost thinking like, well, the season's over with. We might as just go ahead and start thinking about basketball. Trust me, I know some of those people that are like that. But yeah, Highland, fortunately, does not pick up the victory here. Of course, they come up short here, 36-29 at home. And of course, we might have to put Louisville on the schedule again. I think the third time we might have to play them in a neutral site. Because I think, at least talking to Coach Bonds after that game, of course, everybody was interviewing him, even though he's not the coach anymore. They were interviewing him about the game, and he said that there was a lot of missed opportunities in that game for them to score, and he really thinks that they should have the game should have been a lot closer. If not, they should have won that game. So next up is North Carolina, as the Tar Heels, of course, 0-1. So both teams looking for their first win here in week 2, as North Carolina played Mississippi State. Of course, they lost 26-14. Take a look at this one. Hey, we bounce back. We win this one, as Highland picks up their first win of the season, now ranked 12th in the nation, and they win this one 31-20. Highland didn't have a good job there. They if you take a look at their first downs, they did not do a good job there. Usually, they're on the top of that. This time, they had only 18 first downs to compare to North Carolina's 28. But the rushing yards, look at that, 257 on 47 attempts, 3 touchdowns there in that game. I would love to see how that was spread out there. I'm assuming Eric Marcus had a great game. Passing wise, I like that. 16 of 28 with 1 touchdown. They had, their quarterback threw 52 times for North Carolina. 32 out of 52 there for their QB. They had a slightly better job there in third downs. We had 1 fourth down conversion there. And, of course, the red zone appearances there. 7 red zone appearances. We only had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in those at 57%. But even look at North Carolina. 8 red zone attempts, only 2 touchdowns, only 2 field goals. Wow, that is not good at all. Turnover-wise, 3 turnovers. They had 6, so our Highland Scotties defense is really stepping up here. 3 lost fumbles there for North Carolina. We had 2 interceptions, 1 there on Moore, and of course we picked off their quarterback 3 times in that game. So that was nice to see. Good balance there. Defense really stepping up, making sure they pick up a win, and of course win the second game of the season. Put them on track here now as a pretty good contender for that BCS championship. All right, so we'll look at North Carolina numbers there. Thomas, there you see he had 396. He threw 61% of his passes were completed. Huff, 23 of 95, 2 touchdowns there for him. Thomas also came in the game as well, 13 of 40 for him on the ground. Receiving wise, the top receiver there, Casey, 10 catches for 132 yards. Adams, 10 catches, 108 yards. Jenkins, 7 catches for 105 yards. So they had 3 guys there that were over 100 yards for the day, and that is, I'm sure that the defensive coordinator for Highland is going to be really going to get really yell out the defense there. Even though we won the game, but having those three receivers like that's not like Highland's defense there. Usually we can shut down 2 of the 3, but yeah, those 3 there getting those catches there, that's crazy. Put up some great big numbers like that. So not too bad there. Huff, there you see his numbers there, top of the screen there. He's one of the players of the game. 28 carries for 211 yards for 2 touchdowns. Moore, 16 of 28, 187, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He got sacked twice in that game. So that's good. That's good. He's throwing under 30 attempts there. That's usually, for me, that's where I like to see my quarterbacks at. Between that, no more than 35. They get to that 35 range, it's like, okay, then we might need to start putting a backup in and save that guy's arm. Receiving wise, 6 receptions for 88 yards there for Huggins. Marcus got involved there too with 3 of 15. Hicks was the only one that got a touchdown here, receiving wise, as pretty much the game was pretty dominant by the run here, which, that's Highland football right there. But Hicks, 1 catch for 5 yards in that game, as he, like I said, got the only reception in this one. And then take a look at the defense there. Hines, 10 tackles for him. All 10 were solo tackles there, so nice job there flying around the ball. Perry had a tackle for loss there. So not a bad game there. Great job there. Getting a nice win here. 31-20 in this one. And of course, there you see some of the visits. We already got a few guys here. We've got a kicker and 2 strong safeties. That second strong safety, I'm assuming, is for depth. But regardless, we're going to go after those 3. And we're going to go ahead and set up those visits here. And we'll see at some point here. I can't remember exactly when those visits were, but I'm sure they're going to be coming up very, very soon. And we're going to try to get them in as quickly as we possibly can, because we want to really try to. I think this season we got to work on a lot of our depth in the secondary position. So I think obviously safeties, the safeties position, both of them are up for grabs, as well as I believe we have a look for a corner as well. So we take a look at week 3. We're going to take on the Zips, who are 0-1. And, of course, the Zips, they're going to have, actually, we're going to have some players here showing up for this one here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. As, there you see, we're pretty much, this should be, not necessarily saying a game that we should have, in our midst here. But we do have some players that are going to be showing up for this game. So it's going to be very important for us to win this one here, and we got to win this one strong. Now, Akron, of course, lost their first game of the season, 40-13 against Boise at home. And, of course, they would like to try to make that up here this week in their second game of the season, as they're looking for a win here. And, of course, they know what happened last week against North Carolina, against these Scotties. It's going to be a tough game here, but they believe they can try to upset them like Louisville did just a week ago. And, of course, this one was a close one. 26-13 is your final, as Highland got 26 first downs. Zips got 15. Total offense, 467 yards for Highland. As for the Zips, they had 286 yards total offense. And then take a look at your third down conversions. And, yeah, not a good night there for us. 8 of 20 there for the night. But especially the red zone there. 11 red zone appearances. Only 3 touchdowns and 1 interception came out of that. And then, of course, no turnovers of any kind. No interceptions or no forced fumbles there. So, nice job there. We were able to keep the ball. Of course, penalty-wise, pretty equal there. Both had around about near 35 yards in penalties, and about 6 penalties each there for them. As you see more there, 14 of 31 to 14. No touchdowns, no interceptions there. So 45% of the passes were completed. Not the best night here for him, but nonetheless, he did protect the football there. He did give no turnovers. So it's nice to see what the redshirt sophomore is going to do. And of course, he's doing a great job there, stepping up here this season and taking the reins. Of course, Marcus did a great job there, and that's why I think that's why he, Coach Bond's seen something in him. That's why he redshirted him, a couple years ago. He wanted to see what this young man can do later on in his career, and he's done some great things there. 41 attempts on 203 yards. Of course, it's only a 4. I would round that up to about 5 yards a carry. But 2 touchdowns, and of course 22 broken tackles. Wow, in the game. So nice run there for him. Of course, Moore as well had a nice, pretty decent day for him and the quarterback, rushing the ball as well as he had a rushing touchdown. Of course, no receiving touchdowns, as you see Wes Becker, 3 catches for 48. Simmons 1 for 21, Hicks 1 for 12, and Slaughter 3 for 63. Slaughter having a little bit of a slow season this year compared to the last couple of seasons we've seen him, and he's definitely stepping up in that role, being a great leader there there in the receiving core. As our defense here, you see, nice job there. Perry, 2 sacks. Brothers had a sack as well. They should be getting close. They should be juniors here, if I'm not mistaken. McGee, of course, he is there as well, doing a great job. He's a redshirt senior as well. So he's playing a pretty good season as well. Put up some good numbers there. And of course, as we get the season goes on, we'll start seeing those guys more often with some more tackles and more sacks and such, as they're just a really good defensive core that we have there. And then it seems like they're still doing pretty good without Coach Bonds at the helm. But now we'll take a look here at some of the Zips numbers there, and of course you guys can pause the video, check those out. But for the most part here, pretty decent game here. It wasn't really a blowout. Usually the first couple of games of the season for the Highland Scotties is usually some pretty close games. We find ways to move the ball, and of course, we got especially this season, we got a lot of new players here. The last season we lost, I think, almost 12. I think it was 15 totals, 15 seniors in total. Most of them on the defensive side of the ball. So defense may be an issue here, but I think give it some time here. I think they'll be able to get their timing down and be able to be on the field more often. And I think they'll have a really good defense, solid defense, to help them get to a decent bowl game, if not the national championship game. So you see here, we got a long list of players looking at us, and of course they are ready to get signed up for a meeting there. So that is nice to see. And of course, we're still in the top 10 here, so we get back in the top 10 as we were at number 10 last week. Of course, previous to that we were at number 12, so now we're starting to creep back up after that nasty loss there against Louisville. So at number 9, they're 2-1. Ohio State's still at number 1. Ohio State's still at number 1. Clemson's still at number 2. Tennessee at number 3. Miami jumps up 3 spots to number 4. USC jumps up 1 spot to number 5. Florida jumps up 2 spots from number 8 to number 6 there. And of course, there you take a look at the rest of the top 25, which looks pretty good. There's some pretty good teams here. You start seeing some teams that we haven't seen for a while get in the top 25 here, or even the top 10, and they're looking pretty steady here. Of course, my Nebraska Cornhuskers in there in the top 20 as well, which is nice to see. But there you see Arizona State. Wow, they dropped out. Florida and Wisconsin. So currently right now in the first 3 weeks of the season, West Virginia is taking up the helm right now, BYU, along with BYU actually, both 3-0 in the North. Highlands at 2-1, which I'm sure a lot of people are scratching their heads like, what is going on with that team? And of course, Kansas there at 2-1 along with us. Cincinnati at 1-1. Utah at 1-2 along with K-State, and of course at the bottom of the barrel there it is Iowa State, who will be playing, I believe, coming up here in one of the no, it's not the, I think it's Cincinnati we play first here for the start of the Big 12. In the South, you got Arizona right now leading at 3-0. Houston right behind them at 2-1. Baylor at 2-0, and Arizona State at 2-1. 2-1. UCF at 1-1. Oklahoma State at 1-1, and then the other schools there 0-3 and 0-2. So we take a look at the top players here for the Heisman Trophy, and there you see Eric Marcus. Yes, we're really trying to keep an eye on him, and of course we'll keep up to date here in this video. Every couple of weeks we'll take a look here as we're simming and see where he's going, if he's going to drop off anything. Thomas there for Tennessee is playing really good football there. He was on the list towards the end of the year last season. Of course, now he is back. And of course, here's some of the rushing leaders right now for the first 3 weeks of the season. There you see Marcus with 528, looking very good there. Huggins with 195, so he's in the, well, he's ranked 80th right now in receiving. That'll definitely change pretty quickly here. And of course, Perry brothers there in the top 2 with solo tackles, and of course in sacks. So you see Perry at 118th with only 2, and I'm sure those numbers will shoot up here very quickly here as we get into the Big 12 play. So, like I said, the first 3 weeks, it's always usually rough. Of course, I think, if Coach Bond's coaching right now, we've seen this before. The first 3 weeks is pretty tough. Can't have its rough go there, and trying to get, players, trying to get them acclimated to the offense and the defense. And, we had some pretty close games, and we've seen that many times here in this series. And, so far, it's smooth sailing. Now, we do have one of our first commits here. It's Ryan Goss, as he will be committing there. So he's going to be, of course, a role player for us and for next season. So we'll see how he is going to fit there. So now we go to the next week here, and we jump now to the first Big 12 game of the season for us. We're number 7, and there you see Kirk is picking us for this week, as both teams are 2-1. And of course, Florida, or I should say University of Central Florida, right now are not the favorites in this one, but they got some pretty good things. Right now they're scoring, they're in the top 60 in points per game, rushing wise. They're in the top 25, and then pass defense there, they're looking pretty solid. They're only giving up 240 yards a game. So first week they won against FCS Northwest 42-35. Then they beat the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, beating them 35-21. And of course, last week in their first Big 12 game, they played against Houston, defeating Houston 28-21 in a very tight ball game there at home. So now they're trying to see what they can do, against us, and try to see if they can get their second Big 12 victory this season. And we'll see what the score is in a few moments. As we take a look here at the offensive players of the offensive leaders right now, Rogers, their top guy last week against Houston, 15-29, 202, 3 touchdowns. Larson, 29 carries for 184 yards and a touchdown. Bell, one of their top receivers this season, he had 5 catches for 38 yards, no touchdowns, but he has a total of 2 so far this season. So a little bit of a slow go for him. But we'll take a look here, and we'll see that Highland will go on the road here in Central Florida, and they will defeat the Knights 45-27. So we get our first Big 12 victory here of this season, as we only had 19 first downs. They had 22 total offense, 499 there for them, 438 for us. Touchdown wise, rushing wise, we had 245 yards rushing with 51 carries with 3 rushing touchdowns in the game. So that's nice to see. This running game is really, I'm enjoying this running game. They had 35 carries for 73 yards, but they had 4 rushing touchdowns. And then turnover wise, we had 1 turnover for interception, but we were able to pick them up. We were able to force them to get 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles in that game. So not bad at all. Moore, 14 of 34, 193. I really like to see him throw 200 yards a game, but I guess that's pushing it. But we'll see how things go. Sean Wilson, the freshman, great job here in this game. This is a breakout game for him. 28 carries for 159 yards. Where is this kid coming from? He's a freshman, 6 foot, 205 pounds from Maywood, Illinois. And he put on a show. As Marcus, I think, was taken out of the game because of the injury. He had 4 carries for 16 yards. He'll be all right. He'll come back next week. Moore, 14 carries for 45 yards. So modern day for him. But that Wilson kid is on fire. And I'm hoping we do not have I don't think we've ever heard of this before, but a halfback controversy in college football, because that kid just had a breakout game. I don't know what got him started. I think if anything, he probably figured, okay, this is my one and only opportunity to try to take the job from Marcus if he is hurt, and put the team on my shoulders, and I'm show them and the world what I can do. And he was very impressive in that game. Take a look at the stats here for defensive wise. Not a bad day. Pretty solid day there. Only gave out 27 yards in the to UCF. But hey, that is going to help us a lot here now, as now we have a victory over UCF. I think the last time we played against UCF, myself, I think the game, I think they were within a touchdown, a field goal, I think, last time we played against them. I can't remember. It was close. It was a close game. So defense really did a great job there, stepping up here, better than what I could have did if I was controlling them. Because yeah, that UCF game last time we played, it was a tough game. Yeah, I had to kind of throw my hands up, like, okay, what do we do to defeat them? And but apparently you just run the hell out of the ball and just attack them. The freshman quarterback there, for 28 of 58, wow, 426 yards, 2 interceptions, completed 48% of his passes. He was sacked 4 times. His longest pass was 42 yards. So Joe Rogers, the pocket passer from Ohio, showed off what he can do there in this game. And of course, he's going to have some growing pains here this season. And I'm sure with the way how it was pretty impressive here, throwing over 400 yards in this game, he's going to be a special talent there for UCF in the future. Larson, 29 carries, 66 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns for him, as he had a really great day there. 7 broken tackles and, of course, a fumble there. Of course, he probably wishes that fumble was off his ledger there, but unfortunately, that one is going to count against him. Mark Miller, 9 catches for 184. No touchdowns there for him. And of course, there you see, really, truly, it was just a horrible day there for them receiving, as they only had 1 guy over 100 yards in the game. They had only 2 over 50 yards in the game. The rest of them came up a little short there. Actually, even though Miller had a great day, he did drop the ball twice in the game. He had a total of 2, 3, 4, 5 drops by 1, 2, 3, 4 players. So yeah, tough day there for them, but nonetheless, I'm sure King Christ spilled milk for UCF. They're still a good football team, and I'm sure they'll be ready for us next season if we get it happen, be matched up again. But as you take a look here, I'll look at the rest of the scores here. Terrence Brown had the most TFLs. He also had a sack of the game, the only sack that they got on our QB. And of course, Johnson had the only interception that they got off of Moore there in the passing game. So yeah, not a bad game for us at all. And we'll go ahead and now we'll advance to week 7 and take a look at Scott Archie, 79 overall, strong safety, young man that visited us just a couple of weeks ago. He is now signed with us, and he has potential to be a starter, a true freshman starting for us next season. They're in that secondary position. So I believe, if I'm mistaken, I think he was a Jim. So he is definitely going to be somebody that, we're, of course, if we're playing this, he would be a person that would be definitely be one of those impact players early on here as a true freshman. And there you see, of course, more recruits wanting to come and visit with us. So we're going to set up some recruitments, some prospects here to come visit us. And you see a whole list of players' names there. And I don't think that's even all of them that we have showing up for this upcoming game. So we got some games coming up here that we'll need to set some of these players to show up and come and play. But take a look here at Oklahoma State, 2-2 as we're in the next week here. We're currently number 9 in the nation, 3-1, and of course Oklahoma State 2-2. And this, of course, is going to be a home game for us, so we will have some of those recruits showing up for this game here, and this will be a nice way because we've had trouble with Oklahoma State in the past, and now, especially now with the other schools that have joined us, Arizona State. We kind of put Oklahoma State in the back view of our window, and of course not really thinking about them, but they're still a huge threat. They can cause a problem here. We've had trouble with them. We came close to losing games against them, but there you see the quarterback of Baker from last week, and of course he had a total of 8 touchdowns. And yeah, they got us good here this week as we lose our second game of the season. This will be the first Big 12 game of the year that we have lost, and we lose this one 48-20. Yeah, they got us good there. 25 first downs, 541 yards in total offense there. Tough break there. But we did get them on the rushing. We had 187 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. And the thing that got us was we just could not hold on to the football. It was raining pretty bad. And we had 2 fumbles. And, of course, we had an interception. More, 15 of 33, 154 again. We got to push him to get 200 yards a game. This is not the type of passing I want to see from our quarterback here. He was sacked twice. His longest pass was 20 yards. Wilson, hey, he stepped up here. 32 yards, 153 or 135 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. And yes, unfortunately, Eric is going to be out for a couple weeks with an injury. He had a foot injury, and he'll be out. So now Wilson is taking over the reins, and he will definitely be our starter here for the foreseeable future. Take a look at the rest of the box score here. Looks like our defense just really could not get to the ball there. They just had a tough time tackling. Wood had 9 tackles. We had a few tackles for loss there. And of course, I think we only had 3 sacks in the game. So we were just not, wasn't on the prowl, wasn't attacking like we normally would when it comes to games like this. And of course, like I said, we were due for a loss to this team. And of course, you don't want to think that way, but unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. And of course, I wouldn't say this is a trap game for us, but it was definitely a game that pretty much had our number. And it just did not go for it. This game did not start off from the get-go. We had just a rough time overall. There you see Taylor, 60 yards from 12 carries. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. So great day there running. Even though they put up monster numbers of running, but yeah, they just did a great job there. Passing wise was great too. Wilkinson had 2 touchdowns on 8 catches for 138 yards. Reed had 9 catches for 115 yards. So when you got 2 receivers there, kind of dictating the game, and a quarterback that can throw and do a good job here in this conditions like this, this was a game that we were kind of doomed from the get-go. And of course, like I said, most importantly, Oklahoma State, they've been waiting for us to to really slip up, and when we did, they definitely took advantage of that. So hopefully we can bounce back from this. This is, like I said, our second loss of the season, our first conference loss. Like I said, we can still bounce back here and still have a decent chance to get to the national championship. But like I said, a lot of things are going to have to happen in our favor. As you see, 2 players are already committed to us. 81 overall wide receiver Matt Bauer, and of course Elliott Mangum, 78 halfback, has committed to us. Then you got Greg Jones, outside linebacker. Scott Williams, defensive tackle, and then Henley McQueen also commit, and a couple others as well will commit to the team. So Highland's now ranked 18th in the nation, as we are looking now for our next win here, as we're 3-2 overall. It's 1-1 in conference play, and we're taking on an 0-2 Iowa State. And of course, I'm kind of going into this game, heading into this game. I talked to a lot of people. A lot of people are saying, "Hey, we lost to Oklahoma State, and Iowa State has not been playing good football right now." And we kind of not necessarily overlook Oklahoma State, but we're kind of thinking that, okay, this could be a good game for us to rebound and take out our aggression from the loss that we had last week against Oklahoma State. We can do that to Iowa. And of course, I was kind of thinking, I don't know, because we didn't do so well against Oklahoma State, and of course, teams like Iowa State, they like to try to ruin the party against teams that lose previous weeks. Seems like here lately. Take a look here. Their only win came from against the Terps, where they won 41-13. They lost the first 2 weeks. Of course, they lost the game in the Cyhawk game against Iowa. And of course, take a look here at their stats coming into this game here. Holloway, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 773 yards. Penn has 492 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground. And then Hill has 2 touchdowns. He had a touchdown last week with 7 catches for 49 yards. So hopefully this will be a bounce back game for us. That'll be good. Of course, Iowa trying to stop this losing streak they've been going on, and they like to, of course, try to take that out on us and try to pick up a win here today. And so we're going to see here in a bit how this game turned out to be, as Iowa's going to go in this game as 4-1, looking for their second win here in 6 weeks. And we'll before we get to that, we'll take a look at update here to the top 25 poll, and we'll take a look here. And huge change. Actually, Tennessee jumps up, takes the #1 position. They were the top 5. You take a look at the rest of the numbers there. Ohio State drastically dropped. We did too. We dropped from 9 to 18. Nebraska took a slip and fell there from 18 to 25. Texas, Mississippi State, and Virginia Tech all get booted out of the top 25. They were in the top 25 last week. Texas at number 11 last week. Mississippi State at 23. Of course, Virginia Tech hanging on to that 25 spot. And now they're looking up at the rest of the top 25 here this week, trying to get back in. So Marcus Thomas, like I mentioned earlier before, he's playing really good football there for Tennessee. Helped them get to the #1 spot in the nation, and they're hoping to hold on to it for the rest of the season. And of course, there you see the numbers there. You got Newsom, who was in the top 5 there from last year from the Heisman Trophy. And of course, you got some newcomers, Austin, Edwards, and Carter. Carter, the quarterback there for Florida. As we take a look at this one, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This was a close one here. 24-22 final score here in Ames, as Iowa State comes very close to winning this one here. Highland be able to hold on to it, the ball, in the final 3 minutes of this game, and made a drive down the field, and of course scored, which helped them out. So yeah, this was a very nail-biting game here. I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good at all. Losing 2 straight back-to-back in Big 12, that could really set us on a bad path to not be in a good position here in the postseason. So as we take a look here, 24-22 final score, 24 first downs. They had 17. We had 493 yards total offense. We had 188 yards on 59 carries, one rushing touchdown. They had 2 rushing touchdowns on 31 carries, 92 yards. Passing wise, they beat us there, 342 to 305. So I'm liking that we're getting him to push for getting, I would say 300 yards or 200 yards would be good for us. But this week he got 300 yards there, so he's starting to really step up. We're starting to put a fire underneath him, and he's making some good progress there. So not bad at all. Of course, Wilson again, young man showing off again here. 28 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown. He seemed like he was ready for this season. Moore, 27 carries for 77 yards, and then of course Thompson helping out, and then Slaughter as well, trying to help out the youngster in that position. Simmons, 7 catches for 113, 2 touchdowns there from him. He really did step up here the last couple of weeks here. He's been kind of getting near 100 yards a game, but this year, so far today, he did a great job there, especially getting 2 tutties. So hopefully we can see him do that more often. I'm really surprised that Matthew Hicks is not getting that many catches and not getting that many opportunities, because I know when we had him, he was utilized quite often. So I don't know what the deal is this season, but when we had him as a freshman, he was doing really well. And now he's kind of he's more of a background type of player here, and we got to get him more involved more often there. So hopefully he'll be able to step up here in the next couple of weeks. But look, take a look at the numbers here for Iowa State. Holloway, there you see 26 of 49, 342 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked twice in the game. Penn, 2 touchdowns there on 20 carries for 73 yards. And Holloway, 11 for 19 for him. Let's take a look at the rest of the offense here. Take a look at the receivers. 10 catches for 161 yards for Hill. He did not get in the end zone at all, which I am very shocked and surprised. The way they were playing us here this game. They had a lot of looks. Of course, he did drop the ball twice. But yeah, I'm really shocked and surprised that they didn't take more shots at him of getting into the end zone here in this matchup here today. And of course, now we're taking a look at the defense here. Chambers, 11 tackles there for the game for him. Pickens, 12 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and a sack, as he is the leader of that defense for Iowa State. So there you see Pollard there, 3 tackles for loss, Walker 2, Davis and Dowell with 1. And no interceptions here, which is all really great for us. I like seeing that. There you see Davis did get the forced fumble, and of course the fumble recovery, and of course the touchdown. That was, of course, a scoop and score, and that was in the third quarter. That's what made me a little nervous there, because I'm like, oh boy, if we cannot move, we had a tough time moving down the ball down the field there, and I was like, man, we got to do something here. We got to make sure we score, and we got to make sure we do it having the last possession. CJ Hall, of course, the kicker, we went after, and of course we got a couple other players signed, and of course more players want to, even though we're not playing like the Highland Scotties team, even like a year ago or 2 years ago, but we still got people interested in our school. So now we're going to take on Cincinnati here, 2-4 for Cincinnati, and just take a look at their loss the first week against FCS East in an overtime loss, 36-33. Then they won against Miami of Ohio, and then, of course, had a couple of losses here. And, of course, this has been a pretty good matchup between these two schools here. When I first started this series, I was going to put, Highland in this, their former division that, Cincinnati was in the American. But then I was like, it makes more sense that we would just put them in the Big 12 because we're in Kansas, and be nice to go against the other 2 Kansas schools and have a kind of a battle of the sunflower with just the 2 schools, two traditional schools. We'll have a third one in there, but I was really considering having be in this conference against Cincy, because Cincy, they have some pretty good players here, and fortunately they come up short in this one here. 33-10 is the final score. 522 yards in total offense, 285 for Cincy. The Bearcats, of course, not doing so good here, as they'll now end up picking up another loss. But rushing-wise, 42 carries for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Passing-wise for us, 16 of 27, and 2 receiving touchdowns as well. So we'll take a look here. Turnover-wise, we had 2 turnovers. Both teams had 2 turnovers apiece. We picked them off twice, and then we ended up we lost a fumble, and of course then we ended up also threw a pick as well. So good day for our defense, but also a bad day there for our QB and for offense there, as they as well give up some turnovers there. So kind of that give and take. But I think for the most part here, we were pretty good, good day. And of course, there you see time possession, pretty close there in time possession. 30 minutes and 12 seconds, 29 minutes and 18 seconds. There for more for Highland, 15 of 23, 244. Walker also came in the game, 1 for 4. With of course he threw the interception. So Moore did not throw an interception here in this game, which is very nice. We got over 200 yards from Moore. So that's really good. He is really producing now, and being productive here, challenging himself even more. So Wilson, 23 carries for 132 yards. He had 5.7 yards a carry with 1 rushing touchdown. Moore, of course, had a rushing touchdown as well. He almost had 100 yards on the day, He had 12 carries for 82 yards. Wilson also had a receiving touchdown as well. 5 catches for 37 yards. Huggins, 4 catches for 113. No touchdowns for him. But Slaughter, Slaughter, he gets 3 catches for 74 and a tutty there for him. So we move on here. Take a look at the defense. And, of course, defense, like I said, pretty good job here tonight. We got the win, which was good. And, of course, Young, the leader of that pack, with 9 tackles there in the game, leads the team in today's game. Taking a look at Cincy's numbers. Ross, 18 of 42, 155, a touchdown and 2 interceptions for him. He also had 15 carries for 54 yards. No rushing touchdowns here for them at all. King was 11 of 57. Noel, 4 for 14. Of course, Contrell, 1 for 5. Receiving wise, Easton had, of course, the only receiving touchdown there. 6 catches for 48 yards. Jones, 5 for 33. Watson, 5 for 57. Of course, Dortch, I believe he has 17 yards of the day. And defensively, there you see the numbers there. So Moore gets the honor of being a player of the game for Highland, which is nice. Like I said, he has been doing a great job here, producing some numbers here and getting his numbers up and starting to look like that quarterback that we want him to be here for this team. And of course, doing a great job here, leading them to some victories. So of course, one of our, feel like even though we're not technically a rival, but one of the newer teams, of course, joined the Big 12. That is Utah. And we kind of had some pretty good games here between the two of us. And, of course, today we're going to see that matchup again here, as we're currently ranked 12th in the nation. So we're starting to climb back up there. And we come up to Utah, and we see this one here. It's going to be 48-28 is your final score. Highland picks up the win. So that's going to be a nice victory for us. That's going to help us get boosted up maybe a spot or two in the top 25 here, especially depending on if there was any upsets here today. But it looks like a pretty good game overall. We had 266 yards passing. They have 252. And I'm gonna say recently here, I'm kind of working on both. So I'm working on this finale for the Highland Scotties, but I'm also working on, of course, the new Highland Scotties series on College Football 25, and I just got done. It was just kind of funny. I just got done playing the game against Utah, and boy, I'm telling you, that was a fun game to play. I cannot wait for you guys to see that episode. It was a lot of fun. But Walker came in this game here today. He had a pretty decent day there, as I believe Moore was injured. But Marcus comes back in the game here. Comes back after injury. 30 carries for 164 yards and a touchdown. Wilson 15 of 60, no touchdown for him. Walker, of course, got a nice touchdown as well. So Marcus, like, hey, rookie, freshman, I'm glad glad you did what you did, but hey, I'm back. I'm ready to take over the reins here. So this could be nice. If we were playing this game, I would definitely be changing up that backfield there. It would be a 2-back set, formation there, because those two, I can see just those two just killing it as a two-headed monster in that backfield there for us, and really just take that pressure off of their quarterback here. But yeah, really good game for Marcus as he comes back here after injury. We'll take a look here at the Utah numbers there. Ward, 27-43, 4 touchdowns, 352, and of course 4 sacks in the game. So not bad at all. Of course, unfortunately, they come up 20 points short of winning this game. But hey, we did a great job there controlling the game. We had a little tough time there with Jordan Woods, 8 catches for 33. Henderson the same way, 6 catches for 81. But then Tyler and Harris, not big numbers there, but they also got themselves into the end zone there. So there must have been some red zone things going on there. But they get some nice yards there to help themselves out, and they get a touchdown apiece. Utah, of course, Dockery got the most sacks in the game. He had 2 tackles for loss as well, so led in that. No sacks there, and of course, no interceptions there from Utah. So Utes unfortunately come up short there, and now we'll see here. We get we get pumped up 2 spots now as we get ready to play the next game against Kansas. We're back in the top 10, and of course we're the only team with 2 losses here so far in the top 10. Right now in the top 25, we have Penn State, Virginia with 3 losses, and then Oklahoma State, NC State got 3 losses as well. So, and of course, then you got a couple teams like Nebraska and Stanford who have 4. So everything is starting to go our way. We've got some teams that are starting, getting those 3 losses, 4 losses, which is going to help us, inflate us up as long as we keep winning. Going to make us look good. Take a look at the latest Heisman watch, and there you see Thomas for Tennessee. Tennessee's still number 1 team in the nation. Still playing very good with him there under center, playing some really good football. So now Kansas is up next here as we'll meet them here in this one. Of course, there you see Kansas. Of course, this is going to be at Memorial Stadium. And there you see they have lost. Wow. Arizona State, Utah, West Virginia, Oklahoma. They played Oklahoma. They played K-State. All losses, and then finally won against BYU. So now they're trying to go for 2 straight here today. And we'll see if we can pump their brakes and let them say, nah, not today. And we did. 44-24 is your final score. As total offense there, 528 yards, 473 yards. Total offense there for Kansas. And of course, I'm wondering if there was a weird thing that happened in this game. Looks like we had an interception and a lost fumble. So I'm pretty sure we probably had something weird happen on the field. It seems like every time we play against Kansas, just something odd and strange happens. They'll usually have 1 or 2 players. They'll have some gaudy numbers, and it's just like, wow, like, computer, do you really hate me that bad? Are you really going to troll me with this team? Don't get me wrong, I love Kansas. I don't follow them on football. I do follow them through the hoops, basketball and such, but yeah, of course, this I can't say. Here recently, the Kansas Jayhawks have been playing some really impressive football, and they're definitely one of the teams, the underdog teams, I'm really rooting for. But Walker, 18-37, 221 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 sack. Of course, taking over the reins for Moore, or as he is out right now. Marcus, big day there, but unfortunately did not get in the end zone. 40 carries for 198 yards. Walker gets in the end zone there, 18 carries for 89 yards. Wilson gets in the end zone there on 2 carries for 9 yards. And Walters helps out as well, the fullback from next to Kansas, which is right down the highway from us here in Highland. He gets a nice touchdown as well. Simmons, 5 catches for 75 yards and a tutty, as well as Wes Becker, 4 for 64. And Marcus there, 2 for 13. Hicks, 1 for 10. And of course, Slaughter there, 1 for 24. Top defensive guys here. Young got the most tackles in the game. So, of course, Perry kind of dropping off here today. He didn't get too many. He got 2. He had 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a sack. He's not getting those multiple tackles like we usually see him, those double-digit tackles. So something obviously is going on with him. He's just not flying around the ball there like him, and also like Brothers as well. Because lately I've noticed here Brothers is not doing too good at getting tackles either. So Cedric Wilson, the young man from the redshirt senior from Iowa State. Of course, there you see his numbers there. Pretty decent for him for the night, but unfortunately comes up short. Parker, 10 carries for 62 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns for him. Wilson, 6 carries with 22 yards there for him. Receiving wise, Ridgeway, 8 catches for 104 yards. Bird, 7 catches for 117 and a tutty. And that was the only tutty they got through the air from their quarterback here. As Kansas really try to do something here today, but unfortunately we were able to, thank goodness, be able to defeat them. I'm surprised the score is not closer than what it actually usually is, because usually we have to fight tooth and nail to make sure we just try to get 2 possessions out of them, and this time we beat them by 20. So that's very, very rare that happens. We get a couple guys to sign with us, and of course we got a couple people trying to want to set up a visit for us, so we're going to get that set up. So now we're looking at West Virginia, who are currently ranked right now in the top 20. They're ranked at number 11. They're 8-1 right now, so they are a very hot team, as you can tell. They beat the Terps and, of course, Kansas. And, of course, now they've got their eyes looking at us. And, of course, we've had some history with them as we've been pretty dominant over them. And this time, we return the favor. We keep that momentum going here in this match, this series between the two of us. 51-21 is your final score, as the Highland Scotties are ranked number 9 in the nation. Of course, they're ranked number 11. So a nice top 25 matchup here today at home, and we get the we get the victory as Walker 26 of 40, 306 with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, completed 65% of his passes with 1 sack. So nice day here for him. Of course, I don't really care for all those attempts there, 40 attempts there. Not good, but Marcus does a great job there for us. 22 carries for 282 yards. Wow. 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 3 broken tackles. 14 broken tackles. He had 3 20-yard runs. 20 yards or more runs in this game. Great day for him. Simmons, 5 for 70 for a touchdown. Slaughter, 5 for 75 and a touchdown. Huggins, 2 for 11, a touchdown for him. So not a bad day receiving here. We got 3 guys over 60 yards through the air with more than 4 receptions there. So a really good day there. Been nice if we had see Hicks. He's starting to heat up there, but unfortunately he could not find a way to get him in the end zone. So hopefully next week will be his week. Take a look at the defensive numbers here. Not bad at all. So, a win by 30, that's pretty reasonable. That's pretty, that's the usual for us against West Virginia for the most part. And get a nice win there against a top 11 team. So that should help us up here somewhat in the rankings there. We'll see where they'll put us at after this week. Ferguson, 28 of 62, 375, a touchdown and interception for him. He also had 6 carries for 24 yards. Tatum, 4 for 26, and then, of course, Burke, 1 for 9. Receiving wise, we'll see the top receiver is Mullins there, 7 of 44, 144, 1 touchdown. Nicholson, 5 catches for 41 and a tutty for him. And Penn, 1 catch for 20 yards and a touchdown there for him. So a nice play there for those guys there. Try to keep up with us and everything, and really putting our secondary on their toes there in that game. And then, of course, your tackle for loss leaders there for them. They're shown right here. But, yeah, this is a really nice win here for us. I really thought that West Virginia was going to really try to take it out on us here, but we were able to survive. And we'll get to the next one here as we get to K-State. It'll be next. But before that, take a look here. 8-2, 6-1 overall. There you see we're in the top now 10, and we're looking up at the top 5 there, and Alabama at number 4. So we'll see how things will go coming up here as we got a few more weeks left of the season. Ohio State, well, they get kicked out of the top 25 as they have a big loss there, and they lose pretty bad there, and they'll end up from number 10 to getting booted out of the top 25. So it must have been a rough go for them. Thomas still the top of the list there when it comes to the Heisman Trophy there, as he is still number 1. He's been number 1 for several weeks now. And he looks like if this keeps going here, he could be the new Heisman Trophy winner. So there we go to the next game here. Like I said, mentioned before, it's Kansas State as the Wildcats here are going to be at 7-3 for the season, 8-2, and this is a home game for us. So we get Kansas both at home games here this year, which is nice. Normally it's a split. Usually we go to one of them we have to go to, and the other one will have to come to us. But this year, both of them came to us, and as you see here, they've won against Kansas, against Iowa State on the road, against Cincy, and of course against BYU, tough BYU at that, at home, at BYU, in the game there, 49-23. So take a look here. Their quarterback, Moore, of all things. 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for him. Walker, 7 touchdowns total so far this season. Last week against BYU, had a pretty decent run there. But we'll see here. Wow, we took out, well, actually, no, excuse me, this was on the road for us as we were at Bill Snyder Stadium, Family Stadium here. Nice. So we win this one 65-17. We put a shellacking on these boys. That's what I like to see here. Yeah, you know, I'm a huge hater of K-State. I don't care. And when I seen this, I was proud. I was like, yes, thank you so much. Got a big win here in Aggieville. And of course, that means I know my boys, some of my friends are huge K-State fans, are like, man, whatever. This is crock of crap. I can hear them already talking already, but we'll see here. Pretty good game here. No turnovers of any kind for Highland, as they did a great job there. But they did get 2 turnovers on K-State, interception and a fumble loss there. Walker steps up in this game here. 27-41, 206, or excuse me, 406. Excuse me, I can't even read. Jeez. 3 touchdowns. He completed 65% of his passes and did not get sacked at all. Nice. Eric Marcus, there you see his numbers. 36 of 165, 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. Woo! 18 broken tackles. Great day there for him. Walker, QB, also helped out as well. He had 17 carries for 55 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. So this was an excellent day for Walker. As I guess he's trying to throw his name throw his ring into the hat there of trying to be a Heisman Trophy candidate possibly for next season. Simmons, 7 catches for 109, a touchdown. Hicks had a touchdown as well, a little over, I think he had like 67 yards or 76 yards, something like that. And of course, here you see the numbers here for defense as well. Defense did a great job. You know, not some big, tackle numbers there. Lampkin had the most. He had 6, but he did lead in tackles for loss as well, which you don't see too often from him. And of course, Young had an interception as well. Now, as for Lance Stover, he took over the reins here for more as the redshirt freshman. 22 of 49, 321, 2 touchdowns, and an interception there from him. Walker Tyree Walker, there you see from Oklahoma, 12 for 37, no rushing touchdowns at all for any of those guys there, Stover or Andrews. And then, excuse me, Miller, 6 for 104 with a touchdown. Miller, 4 for 42 and a touchdown for him. So a decent day. They did score. They did have one guy over 100 yards there for the day that we had to, you got to give up something if you're going to have a big game like this. But yeah, I am so happy that we were able to put a mud hole and walk in dry on K-State here in this one. I'm sure this is, I'm hoping this was like homecoming or something, because this is something that they're going to stick to us next season. I already know already. But now we get to the next game here, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the final game of the regular season. I could be wrong. As we take a look here at BYU, of course, this is our quote-unquote rival game here, as BYU currently 7-4. We're currently now in the top 5 at 9-2. So let's take a look here. Yes, it is the final game of the week or the season here. BYU has lost 2 straight. Of course, they lost against Kansas State that we just seen. They just recently lost to ranked West Virginia, 37-31. So they are definitely going to try to see if they can get a win here to at least salvage. They're already bowl eligible, but of course, like I said, this is quote unquote a rivalry game. So they're going to really try to do their best to go all out. As Lambert is going to be the quarterback there. You see his numbers from last week against West Virginia: 19 of 38, 252, 4 touchdowns, 18 carries for 107 yards on the ground. Ashley, 9 carries for 45 yards. Alvarez, of course, he's one of the players that we tried to recruit a couple years ago. he is still with them here. And there you see, we win this one 44-21 here in Provo, as we got 25 first downs for us, 21 for them. Total offense in our favor at 508. They have 486. And then rushing wise, 54 carries for 211 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. So a good day. Usually we do pretty well rushing wise here. We found a way. We found that the equation to get to their rushing defense and really work on them and really wear them down there in the running game. Walker, 29 carries for 39 yards, 297 yards total for him passing wise, 3 touchdowns, and of course 1 sack. He completed 51% of his passes, so pretty reasonable here. Of course, there you see Marcus, 27 carries for 121 yards, no touchdowns for him, but Walker, he had a nice day on the ground too. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. So Higgins had 6 catches for 101 yards, but Slaughter, 4 catches for 55 and 3 touchdowns. So the young man from Decatur, Alabama, stepping up here today, get a nice victory there and helping out with a big win there for us. And then of course take a look at there, Miguel Young, freshman, stepping up here on a big day here, as they are of course playing. 12. He had 12 tackles in this game. Corbin, there you see his numbers. He had 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack in the game, as well as a deflection. So nice job there. The junior stepping up here, and he's stepping up at the right time here, because we need our upperclassmen really been here for a while here, really step up now. As we're bowl eligible as well, and we'll see what bowl we go to for the bowl season. As you see, Lambert, 29-61, 399 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns, as well as a sack. He completed 47% of his passes. So the young man from Alice, Texas, fortunately comes up with a loss here today. Ashley, there's 21-62, a touchdown for him. Lambert, 3 for 13. He had a fumble in the game, which we recovered. Eddie Alvarez, 10 catches for 184 yards, no touchdowns for him. And honestly, guys, I looked at some of his numbers for his career, and Eddie's not had a really good career here at BYU. So, you almost think like, yeah, Eddie, you made some pretty bad choices here. With them, and could have been we tried everything to get him signed with us, and of course be a part of the Highland Scotties, but he just at the last minute he decided to go to BYU, and since then that's pretty much it. Pretty much the story with him. But as you take a look here, we get of course we got one more game left to play. Actually 2 more games left to play. Because we are bowl eligible, but we have the Big 12 game, and we'll see if we're going to be a part of that. Now, I think scheduling, overall, I think we should be pretty settled. I think we're at number 1 in the Big 12 North, if I remember correctly, because we only had 1 Big 12 loss all season long. So we'll see who will be playing here. As you see, the top 25 there, Kansas State just hanging on to number 25 there. And there you see the rest of those. And of course, there you take a look there, conference-wise, 8-1, as we are the number 1 team in the Big 12 North, which is good. 10-2 overall, 8-1 in conference, and so not bad at all. As like I said, that 1 loss, of course, coming from Oklahoma State. Of course, there you see Arizona State is the top of the South, as they are 9-3 overall, but a 7-2 record in the South. But when you take a look at the obviously the matchup between Baylor and them, obviously Arizona won that one. So Arizona State will of course take them on the Big 12 championship. Of course, in head-to-head wise, the tiebreaker, of course, Arizona defeated Baylor this season. And there you see there, back in October, early October there, 27-17, or excuse me, 24-17 there in that one. And of course, like the 2 losses we had, of course, we lost the very first week, lost to Louisville, and then went on a 3-game winning streak. And then we hit reality there with Oklahoma State getting revenge, beating us 48-20. And after that, it was not too much smooth sailing because we had a close game against Iowa. But from there on, we pretty much hit the pedal to the metal, and I got some pretty good, nice wins there to help us get into the Big 12 championship game. So we'll see the Heisman race right now and take a look. It's a close one. You got Thomas, Austin, Newsom, Carter, and now Lee, Southern Miss, all quarterback. We'll see 5 or 4 of them are quarterbacks. Austin's the only halfback in this race for that Heisman Trophy, and of course they're gonna have some very impressive games coming.